Let me ask you something honest. How many of you promised yourself in 2025, next year I will change? And how many of you are still carrying the same habits, the same fear, the same excuses? You see the calendar changed, but you did not. And that is not because you are weak, it is because no one taught you how to rebuild, only how to survive. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, intelligence, and opportunities. They fail because they keep waiting, waiting for the right mood, waiting for the confidence, waiting for approval, waiting for the perfect moment when everything magically aligns. And the is that moment never arrives. Life does not send a notification saying, no, you are ready. It simply keeps moving while we stand still, convincing ourselves that tomorrow will be better. We often believe that once things settle down, once responsibility reduce, once fear disappear, then we will begin. But life does not go lighter because you grow stronger. You grow stronger by moving despite the weight. The perfect time is a confronting illusions we use to protect ourselves from discomfort. It feels safer to delay than to try and fail. But every delay has a hidden cost. It slowly teaches your mind that your dreams are optional. When you wait too long, sometimes dangerous happens. You start normalizing dissatisfactions. You wake up every day feeling slightly unhappy, slightly tired, slightly disconnected. And you tell yourselves this is normal. But deep inside, you know it is not. You know you were means of more peace, more clarity, more purpose. Yet instead of listening to that inner voice, you silent it with business, distractions, and excuses. The mind loves comfort zones even if they are pain. At least they are familiar. Stepping into change feels uncertain and uncertainty scares us more than happiness. So we keep waiting for the courage, not for realizing that courage is not something you find, it is something you build by taking actions. Confidence does not come before actions. It comes because of actions. The Think about how many times you told yourselves, I will start from Monday, or I will start with the next month, I will start with, will be different. Year pass calendars change, but habit remain the same. And slowly regret replace hope. Not regret for what you did not wrong, but regret for what you never ever tried. Waiting also creates comparisons. When you stay stuck, you start waiting others move ahead. Their growth becomes a reminder of your delay. And instead of feeling inspired, you feel discouraged. You forget that you were once uncertain too. They did not wait for fears to disappear. They moved with fear in their hand. The uncomfortable truth is this activity comes after actions, not before it. You don't suddenly wake up knowing exactly what to do with your life. You discover it by doing something impactful. You adjust as you go. You learn while walking. Standing still never teach anything. Every time you take a small steps, your brain rewire itself. It learns that change is survival, that efforts does not kill you, that progress is possible. But when you keep postponing, your brain learns the opposite, that avoidance is safety. And once avoidance becomes a habit, even small actions feel overwhelming. Rebuilding yourself in 2026 does not require a dramatical transformations. It requires a decision, a quiet, honest decisions that you will no longer wait for ideal conditions. You will start where you are with what you have as you are. Even if you feel scared, even if you feel unprepared, even if you feel tired. There is something deeply powerful about beginning before you feel ready. It sends a message to your mind that you are in control, not your emotions. That disciplines can lead when motivations is absence. And that message changes everything. Life rewards moment, not intentions. The world does not respect to the plan written in notebook, it responds to actions taken in early. And the moment you stop waiting, something shifts. Energy force efforts. Opportunity appears when you move, not when you hesitate. One day, you will look back and realize that the moment you stop waiting was the moment your life quietly began to change. Not loudly, not dramatically, not steady, peaceful and honesty. And you will understand that the perfect time was never in the future. It was always the moment you decide to begin. Most people hold on to their past not because it was good, but because it is familiar. The mind prefers a known pain over an unknown possibility. And that is why letting go of who you were last year feels so uncomfortable. It feels like betrayals, as if changing means you are denied your own story. But growth is not disloyalty, growth is honesty. We often identify this habit. We say, "This is just how I am," when in reality, it is just what we have practiced repeatedly. You were not born with procrastinations, self doubt, fear of speaking up, and the habits of setting for less. These were learning patterns, and anything that is learned can be unlearned. But first, you must be willing to detach from the versions of yourselves that carries them. Holding on to your old self feels safe because it protects you from expectations. If you remain the same, no one expects more from you, including yourself. But the cost of that safety is silent regret. Every time you repeat an old pattern you have outgrown, sometimes inside you feels heavy. That heaviness is not confusion. It is your inner intelligence telling you that no longer belong there. Detaching does not mean hating who you were. It means thanking that versions of yourself for surviving with the loads tolls it had. That versions help you cope, help you endorse, help you get through moments when you did not know better. But survival is not the same as growth. What saves you once may now be limited you. Many people stay stuck because they keep rehearsing their old story. They introduce themselves internally with labels. I am bad at consistency. I am not confident. I never mess this up. Repeating this narrative keeps your emotional tied to an outdated identity. And the mind works very hard to stay consistent with the story you tell it. The problem is not that you cannot change. The problem is that you keep reminding yourselves of who you used to. And every reminder pulls you backwards. When you detach, you stop defending old behaviors. You stop explaining why you are the way why you are. You simply accept that you are becoming someone new. Letting go for your old selves can also feel lonely because some people around you are attached to that versions. They feel comfortable with that you didn't change them, did not grow, did not outgrow them. When you change, they feel unsettled. And sometimes they will try to pull you back, not out of hurts, but out of familiarity. This is where inner strength is tested because detachment requires courage. And courage is disappointing other. Courage to confuse people who like the old you. Courage to sit with the discomfort of becoming unfamiliar even to yourself. But remember this, you are not responsible for staying small to make comfortable. Your old self had reasons. Your new self has responsibility. Responsibility to your future peace, responsibility to your potential, responsibility to your life that is waiting for you on the other side of this change. And that responsibility is more important than staying loyal to a version of yourself that no longer fits. Detaching also means forgiving yourself. You can't rebuild while carrying guilt for yesterday. Guilt keeps you encroached to the past. Forgiveness loses that grip. You did not past you with the awareness you had. Now you know more. And knowing more invites you to do better. As you step into 2026, understand this deeply. You are allowed to change without explanations. You are allowed to want more without apologies. You are allowed to redefine yourself even if no one understands the new directions yet. Grow often happens quietly because it becomes visible. When you detach from you, who you are, you create space. Space of new habit, space of new confidence, space of a calm mind, space of a such strong identity that is built consistently, but accidentally, not accidentally. And in that space, rebuilding becomes possible. One day, you will look back at the version of yourselves you were holding on to, realize it was not your truth. It was just a chapter, important, yes, but not the whole book. And the moment you let that chapter end, you gave yourself permissions to write a far better one. The people around you shape you more than you realize. Not through what they say, but through what they normalize. Slowly, silently, their habits become your habit, their mindset become your mindset, and their limits start feeling like your limits. That is why growth often feels so difficult because you are trying to change while remaining surrounded by what keeps you the same. Many people believe that loyalty means staying connected no matter the cost. But loyalty without wisdom becomes self-sabotage. You can love people and still recognize that their presence in tearing your energy, clarity, and ambitions. Not everyone who has access to your life deserve influence over your future. When you begin to rebuild yourself, your environment becomes very loud. Some people will discourage you openly. Others will do it subtly through jokes, doubt, or passive negativity. They may not intend harm. Often they are simply uncomfortable watching you break patterns they never had the courage to once. Energy is contagious. Spend time with people who complain consistently, and your mind slowly learn to see problems before possibility. Stay around those who are convinced, and efforts begin to feel unnecessary. This is not about judging others. It is about understanding impact. The mind absorbs what it is exposed to. One of the hardest reality in life is that some relationships are not bad. They are just expired. They serve purpose once. Championships, sport, familiarity, but as you evolve, the relationship stops feeding your growth and start feeding your stagnation. Holding on out of history alone is emotional attachment, not wisdom. Auditing your inner circle does not mean cutting everyone off dramatically. It means observing how you feel after interactions. Do you feel inspired or exhausted? Clear or confused? Motivated or delayed? Your emotional or honest indicators. They reveal whether a connection is nourishing you or slowly emptying you. Sometimes the drain is not emotional but mental. Being around people who continuously doubt, fear, change, or ridicule ambitions train your mind to shrink its own dreams. You start editing yourselves before every try. You stop sharing ideas, you stop believing fully, and eventually you stop becoming. There is also the change of guilt. You may feel selfish for wanting distance. You may worry about being judged, misunderstood, or labeled as arrogant. Sorry. But growth often requires choosing long-term peace over short-term comforts. You are not obligated to remain accessible to everyone simply because you once were. As you grow, your standard changes, not just for life, but for conversations. Values and energies, you start craving depth instead of drama, encouragement instead of criticisms, growth instead of gossip. And this shifts naturally reduce your circle. This is not loss, this is alignment. Another uncomfortable truth is that some people believes from the old version of you. They believes from the silence, your overgiving, your lack of boundaries. When you give to rebuild yourself, they may resist. Not because you are strong, but because the dramatic is changing and change that comfort. This phrase can feel lonely, but loneliness during growth is temporary. Staying surrounded by the wrong persons create a deeper, more permanent loneliness. The loneliness of being unseen, unspotted, and unfulfilled. Choose the loneliness that lead to expressions, not the ones that lead to regret. Auditing your inner soul also include how to engage digitally. The connections you consume, the content you consume, the voice you listen to, the message you reply in your mind. They all count as company. If you continuously feed your mind negativity, compassion, or unrealistic standards, rebuilding become harder. Rebuild yourself in 2026. Thank you very much.